In this video, we're going to get an update on the last time each state had a landslide election for governor. It doesn't matter which side did it, as long as it reaches a landslide. And on this channel, that's going to be defined as a margin of 15% or more. Not 14.5, it's got to be 15. And I already made this video a few months ago, but the reason we're doing it again is we've had 2 elections since for governor. And there's been a change. I think we all know what that is. We'll get to that in just a moment. But at the top, this time, I've got 10 tiers of shading. We'll start with 2025, even though there's only been 2 elections. Then we'll go back every 5 years until we get all the way back to 1980. So we'll cover the years, the winners, and some of the margins. Most of these are going to be from the most recent 1 or 2 elections. So lots of data to get through. Let's dive in. Let's start with 2025. And we've got 1 state to plug in. That's Virginia. Democrat Abigail Spanberger got her margin higher than expected, up to about 15.4. So Virginia is going to be the only state in dark green. It updates the previous time that it happened. That was 2009. Republican Bob McDonnell got it done for the GOP. New Jersey looks like that margin is going to be just under 15% for Cheryl. So we'll come back to that state later on. Now let's go down to 2020 to 24. These are all for 24. First, we've got Missouri. Republican Mike Kehoe won by 21. In Montana, Greg Gianforte, the Republican, won by 20. In North Dakota, Kelly Armstrong won by 42. In Utah, Spencer Cox won by 24 in a 3-way race. In Vermont, Republican Phil Scott won by more than 50 points. And in West Virginia, Patrick Morrissey, the Republican, won by 30. If we go back one more year, we've got another state. It's Louisiana. It's an off-year election, but Jeff Landry won by over 25 in that jungle primary. In 2022, in Alabama, Kay Ivey won by 40. Alaska had Mike Dunleavy winning by 26 with ranked choice voting. Then it's Arkansas. Sarah Sanders won by 28. California, Newsom won by 18. In Colorado, Democrat Jared Polis won by 19. Florida had Ron DeSantis winning by more than 19. Hawaii, Josh Green won by 26. Idaho had Brad Little securing his victory by a big 40 points in a 3-way race. In Iowa, Kim Reynolds won by 28.5. Maryland, Wes Moore won by 34. In Massachusetts, Maura Healey's margin was 29. In Nebraska, Jim Pillins was 23. New Hampshire, Chris Sununu won by 15.5. In Ohio, Mike DeWine won by 25. Rhode Island, Dan McKee won by 19. South Carolina, Henry McMaster's margin was 17. South Dakota, Kristi Noem won by more than 36. Tennessee saw Bill Lee win by 32. And in Wyoming, Mark Gordon won by a massive 58. Ton of states there in that recent midterm, but we've still got some more states in this tier. Let's do 2020. The state is Delaware, and the governor is John Carney. He won by 21. And finally, the last state in this tier is Indiana. Eric Holcomb won by 24 in a 3-way race. Now let's go back to the next tier, 2015 to 19. The year on these states is going to be 18. The first state here is Illinois. That was Democrat J.B. Pritzker defeating incumbent Republican Bruce Rauner by 15.5. In New York, Andrew Cuomo won another term by 23. In Pennsylvania, it was close in 22, but the last time it was more than 15, it was in 2018. Democrat Tom Wolf won by 17. Now we're going to go back 3 more years to 2015. We've got 1 more state. It's Mississippi. Phil Bryant, the Republican, won by a pretty big margin of 34 points. Back in the next tier, 2010 to 14, we've got 2 more states. First is Nevada. Republican Brian Sandoval won by almost 47%. Then in Texas, Greg Abbott won his first term by 20%. After that, we're going to go back 1 more year. We've got 2013, and this time we can plug in the Garden State, New Jersey. It was close in 25, it was close in 17, but the last one to get it to a real landslide was Chris Christie, and his margin in this blue state was 22%. Then we're going to go back 2 more years. We've got 2011. This time it's a red state, it's Kentucky, but the last one to win by a landslide was Democrat Steve Beshear, and his margin was 18. Then in 2010, let's go to Kansas. Republican Sam Brownback was the last one to get it done, and his margin was pretty convincing at 31. In the same year in Michigan, Rick Snyder won by a significant 18. And finally in Oklahoma, Mary Fallon, the Republican, won by 21. Back to the next year, in 2006, we've got a bunch more states. First is Arizona. This time it was incumbent Democrat Janet Napolitano winning re-election by 27. In Connecticut, one-term Republican Jody Rell won by 28. In Georgia, Republican Sonny Perdue claimed victory by almost 20%. And in New Mexico, it was close for both sides in 2014 and 18. But the last one to actually get it done here in 2006 was Democrat Bill Richardson, and his margin was way up there at more than 37. If we go back to the next tier, in 2000 to 2004, we've got just one state here. It's all the way in the Northwest. It's Washington. The winner here was Democrat Gary Locke, and his margin was about 19. Back into the 1990s, in 98, we've got Maine, and this was kind of a crowded field, but independent Angus King won re-election here, and his margin over the second place candidate was almost 40%. Then back onto the West Coast in Oregon, John Kitzhaber, he won by 34%. And in the Rust Belt in Wisconsin, Tommy Thompson, he won his fourth term, notably by 21%. And we're down to just two states, but we're going to go back to the next tier, 1990 to 94. The year this time is going to be 94. The state is Minnesota. The last landslide here was done by Republican Arnie Carlson, and his margin was well into landslide territory. It was at 29%. And that means we're down to the last state. We are going to go back into the 1980s. We're going to skip the next tier. We're going to go to 1980 to 84. And you know what state it is? It's North Carolina. Now, this state got close in 24, but their streak continues all the way back to 1980, where Democrat Jim Hunt won by 24%. That was the last time there was a landslide in this state. And that is it. Those are all of the states. The majority have done it just within the past 5 years, so that's not really all that exciting. But some states are just more competitive, and you've got to go back more than a couple of decades. I think in 25, few people thought that Virginia could hit 15 points and New Jersey would get close. If it didn't happen, then this video wouldn't have been made. But some of these states could go on for another couple of decades before they hit 15 again. Other states could have their drought snapped. It might be hard to imagine, but it could always happen in the next election. The most unexpected state out here for me could be Kentucky. It's a pretty red state, but for governor, Democrats tend to have some success here, and they get the bragging rights on having the most recent landslide. You could say similar about the Republicans in Minnesota or Connecticut. The Dems could also brag about doing it in a place like Arizona, but the Republicans could come back with Vermont or New Hampshire. A lot of times it takes something special to get to 15 points. The right candidates, the right issues, the right national environment all have to kind of combine to reach that landslide status. So that's going to be it for this one. Let me know in the comments. Which of these states is due for another landslide? Is it Washington? Is it Oklahoma? And which active streak do you think is going to go on for at least another couple more decades? Let me know what stands out to you down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to help support the channel. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.